now moving on to something called quadrantal angles. Now I never heard that word until I used this textbook, quadrantal angles. What does that mean? Quadrantal angles are the angles on the borders of the quadrant. So in other words, 0 degrees, plus or minus 90 degrees, plus or minus 180 degrees, plus or minus 270 degrees, and so on and so forth. Okay, they are the angles that are on like the x-axis and the y-axis. So we have a quadrantal angle here. We're going to do example 1. Let's say we're talking about the quadrantal angle 180 degrees, right? It borders between two quadrants. That's what a quadrantal angle is. We're going to evaluate the 6 trigonometric ratios for 180 degrees. So in other words, what we're finding is sine 180. What is cos 180? Tan 180. And what is cosec, sec, cot? So how do we do it? We think back to here. But what I suggest you do is redraw it each time. Okay, it's got to come from up here. You can't have a little cheat sheet anywhere. So just do a circle, draw the theta. Theta, where's theta? Theta. And what did that mean again? You got to remember that sine is y and cos is x, but what if you can't remember those? Just quickly do that diagram. X, y, y. What was sine? Sine theta is opposite over hypotenuse. Sine is y and cos theta is x. All right, so what is sine of 180? Well, now we think, if theta is 180, where is it? Theta is 180. We're talking about this point. Theta is 180, here's the point here, and what are the coordinates of that point? Coordinates are, that's minus 1, 0. So sine of 180 is always going to be the y coordinate. So here we've got sine of 180. What is the y coordinate at that point? 0, that's it. Cos 180, so cos is always the x coordinate, and you look at the coordinates of that point. So remember, we're just thinking like this. Cos 180 is the x coordinate, that's going to be minus 1. Tan 180, tan is always y over x. So what is the y divided by the x? So it's 0 divided by minus 1, which is 0. Okay, so they are the 3 values there, the sine, cos, and tan for theta here. What about cosec 180? So cosec is 1 over sine. So it's 1 over 0. That's undefined. Yeah, and by the way, you can use your GDC here to test these. If you do sine of 180 degrees, these should all agree. Sec 180, remember sec is 1 over cos 180. What was cos 180? Negative 1. 1 over negative 1. Oh, that's defined. Minus 1. And finally, cot 180. Cot is 1 over tan. And what was tan 180? 0. 1 over 0, again, we've got something undefined here. Okay, so for each value of theta, figure out where it is. Okay, remember that the x-coordinate represents cos of that angle, and the y-coordinate represents sine of that angle. Okay, and you work from there. All right, can you do that? B, we're going to do an example in radians. So theta is negative 5 pi on 2. So it's a multiple of pi over 2, which is a multiple of 90 degrees. So it's going to be one of those bordering angles, bordering between two quadrants. So let's draw it. Now we're going to think, if theta is negative 5 pi on 2, where's that? So we're starting from 0 and we're going in multiples of pi over 2, which is multiples of 90. And we're going in the negative direction 5 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Theta is negative 5 pi and 2 is down there. So where is our point on the unit circle? There it is. What are the coordinates of that? That is 0, negative 1. And remember what this means is that the sine is always the y coordinates. That is sine negative 5 pi on 2. And this is cos. Okay, so it's always the xy is always the cos of the angle and the sine of the angle. So what is sine negative 5 pi on 2? Sine is always the y coordinate, which is negative 1. What's cos of theta here? So theta is down here. Cos is always the x coordinate, 0. And what about tan? Tan is always y over x. So it's minus 1 over 0. Okay, remember tan theta is always y over x coming over here. And that is undefined. Okay, so if you did tan of negative 5 pi and 2 on your GDC, it should give you some sort of an error message. Cosec. So this is going to be cosec is 1 over sine. So I might just save a bit of time here. I won't write 1 over sine, negative 5 pi and 2. Cosec is 1 over sine, so this is 1 over negative 1, which is negative 1. Sec is 1 over cos, so it's 1 over 0. Undefined. Okay, remember 0 on the bottom we can't do. 0 on the top is okay. And cot is 1 over tan, so it's, this is a bit tricky. Can't do 1 over undefined, can you? But what we can do is think tan theta is y over x, then cot theta is x over y. So think of it that way. X is 0 and y is minus 1. So that equals 0. That is defined. Okay, so there we are, the 6 trigonometric ratios for theta is -5 pi on 2.